also means if you are able to take him down, you're not going to necessarily get that much back. You'd only get the 35 total, and it's really not going to be that beneficial unless you're able to rotate cleanly off of it. Both have the crash pads, but now you can see fight going on here between Diablo and NXS. Z-Andy on the back foot here, and Diablo trying to push forward. Somebody we've seen had the capability of playing aggressively. He is above that Storm Surge threshold, so just trying to hunt this player and doing a good job of keeping Zandy on the back foot. Does get the cone replaced, owns both, edits back under. Zandy able to replace that stay there, so Diablo just going to reset for a second, make sure he's still back up at near that 100-100 threshold, and then Zandy going to go down. So good job making sure he picked that one up. Zandy was below that Storm Surge threshold. Diablo will see that coming through. The Storm Surge will take that over. So that's what we talk about right now. You can see on the right-hand side, Diablo is currently 130 damage above. Zandy was below, which means he takes that 25 damage every 10 seconds. And it also signals to Diablo, hey, I can just tag this guy up and then wait, because any damage he does for to that player, as long as they go down within a minute, he will still get credit for that elimination. He will still get the point. Then he can go over and safely pick up that loot.
That is another aspect of competitive Fortnite that everyone has to think about. That Storm Surge, it plays a factor into so many of these players' games. Sometimes they forget about it because they're pumping, they're rolling, they got their mats, they got their ammo, they got their builds, they're in zone, and then they're like, wait, I didn't tag anybody this game. I got to look for tags. Frenzy Fishy on the other side, above, and a good amount above. If you're about 100 to 150 above, you're looking at a good spot. As shots come through, he's going to take advantage and find swaps with one AR shot. That is what you needed. We saw Thomas H. do that in the first game. Just find any sort of elimination that you can, far away or up close. Don't even have to risk yourself getting tagged up for it. Beautiful elimination.
Yeah, but you notice how he's doing that behind a cone and editing a single wall. That's to avoid all of those hunting rifle headshots that we've seen come out time and time again. You don't want to get a game ender looking for some of those tags to make sure you're safe. But that being said, when we talk about tags and going through, that's generally meaning you're looking for long-range shots, not with the intention of actually trying to eliminate the opponent, but just doing some damage so you're not threatened by the Storm Surge, as Flois ends Froggy and puts a prime example of why you need a cone in a window and to limit the number of angles you have, because so many of these top-level players will be carrying those weapons, particularly in EU, that is known for their snipes and hitting their shots. Well done from the game number one winner, who's continuing to roll with the momentum here. Boxed up next to Arctic, passive over the side, as we're transitioning now into that mid-game kind of territory as players are starting to get closer and looking for priority in terms of zone number 4.
What an elimination. He needed it too. He only had 2 hunting rifle shots. That first shot needed to hit. He didn't really have a chance to follow up if it didn't. Very heads-up play by Flois. First place, taking down second place. That is, hey, that's pretty good for your mentality. Even if he goes down here and be like, hey, I took out my competition, so I know I'm pretty secure there. But we're still pretty early on into the game, so you can't really do much with it.
And it's important to note when they stress during the top of show how every single interaction matters. Right there, Flois eliminating his direct competition right now, the player who is closest to him, who's able to pressure up. That means if he's able to build up a lead now, it's going to be that much more substantial, because effectively he's eliminated one of the players who can threaten him the most, as now we're on board here with ADN. We saw him have an amazing run yesterday, pushing in. Right there, you can see the Dorito edit being taken down, and that's such a good push. Fastroki was looking to set up a crash pad there with that edited cone in his box, but ADN dropped in and then occupied the space, stuck to the AR, and then just used the weapon to close it out. Well done getting a key pick there in a mid-circle.
And he desperately needed his mats were not looking good. Still are not looking good as well. So he's going to have to find another impact. Mats are not looking good. Now, there is a player's loot there in front of him that he more likely got the elim from. He's not actually prioritizing picking it up right now. It seems like he's just looking to build and then go for the loot. Mr. X is nearby. Benji's nearby as well. Hardest in an awkward spot. We've got Scram in this game here as well. Handy, passive, slick. A lot of players still alive. 61. When we talk about Storm Surge, this is a threshold where it's 50. 11 players need to go down. Darda makes a heads-up play to get a box, and Crash Pad's going to come through, but that's bad for him. Unless he hits the shot. Shots come through, and he does. Maestro going to go down. Rewarded in Arden. be rewarded for his passiveness.
Yeah, and you can see the reason why so many players are fighting right now, both that Storm Surge and trying to get priority. We talk about fourth zone. Look in the bottom right-hand corner. Everyone is looking to box up and stake their claim on as much real estate as possible for when that half in, half out reveals. You don't want to be sharing a spot next to somebody as you go to rotate, and they're looking to clear out the players nearby as Ardent picks up Flois there. So 1 and 2 are down. That's going to open up the leaderboard. Tons of players will have an opportunity to charge up. Eyes are now on Hen and whether or not he can kind of extend his lead out there as Ardent also picks up Lecce. Mongrel getting scout there in a brilliant job because he's now cleared out all the players on this tarp. In that next, the half in, half out, the one before moving is pulling directly over to this cluster of players. So Tayson, Benji, Keelix, Wyzip, Mr. X will all be over there sharing the half in, half out with Ardent. They all have priority on everyone else who's rotating into the zone. So they're going to be fighting among themselves to make sure they're safe and not going to get ambushed, and then swap over to what Tayson's doing now and looking to catch the players, burning their rotation, burning launch pads and crash pads, trying to get into this zone.
And this is very lucky for Tayson because, again, express the amount of builds in the inventory. He only had 54. That is not where you want to be for this endgame. So he has to find an elimination to get to these moving zones effectively. He does have the 6 crash pads, but when you start to use those crash pads, you start wasting those builds as you box up, and he needs to find somebody. As shots come through, he's not going to be able to beam people out of the air just yet, as we do see Nebby unfortunately falling, but he did get that top 50 placement threshold, which is what a lot of people are playing, that consistency. Hey, at least I went down inside of that. Tayson, however, is looking to get aggressive, and I believe that's on, I think this is Benji. I'm 97% sure Benji is right nearby. If Benji makes the wrong edit, he goes into a box that's not his. Tayson is going to go aggressive. He's going to make sure there's going to be popped. Edit's going to come through. No crash pad in. Shots coming through. And Benji's going to go down. Tayson going to take him down.
You called it. He was looking for it, waiting for Benji. He heard him trying to set up and get some space, knew he was pressured around the side. The horizontal crash pad entrance puts him behind Benji, cleans it up with the tactical shotgun, and well done. And Hen, the third place player on the leaderboard before the last game, going on the high ground right now, has priority position with Enos and Mongrel just below him. Also Floki on the same ground, but we're going to hop on over to the Become Legends player. He's been playing so well recently, cleaning up the Cash Cup on his birthday. Had a phenomenal performance yesterday to also guarantee him spot here, and he has priority on this next zone. What that means is he's the closest to where the safe zone has to go past. So as it funnels and everyone else rotates, they have to go past Hen. You do not get to past Hen, and you notice he's built so much space around him, so he can't be shot at in return. All of these shots are completely safe, so anything he's able to convert on will turn into points for him here, as another placement point does take over. Now he's not shooting through that wall. That is just one of the graphical issues with the replay. He's picking up tags, but now you can see setting up a crash pad, going to use it to go on the rotation late, and he picked up a key elimination onto Wyzip there as we have our top 35.
And it's such a key elimination because he gets Jules' glider gun, and now he's got free rotation everywhere. He could win this game based off that elimination. It was such an impact elimination, but he's being a little bit too greedy on that zone. He did get tagged up, but he's still good. Rotation coming in. We do see Safik going down, and rotation X Squeeze went down as well. So a lot of the big names are out of this game, but Hand looking to keep his stream alive and take down one player who landed right on top of him. That was a very, very heads-up elimination onto Pablo, but he's not that healthy. He has those minis in his inventory, about 126 effective HP. He needs to find another one.
He needs to find the outside. He can't be in this cluster. It's really weird to take the grapple gun and then immediately go into the middle because you don't really have the ability to utilize it, and that's what we're looking for, getting towards the outside of the zone so he has more options there. Anas, teammate up on the high ground there, but this is the solos competition, just playing for the same org. You have Gamers Origin, Deceptos there on the middle as we tick over top 25. Another point going through. Anas running through the high ground. Reason still in the match, and you can see Deceptos picks up Ardit there as top 20 ticks over. Another point going through, and right as I say his name, Reason ends up going down. This is looking like a Become Legends top 15 right now, as they have 3 or 4 players still up, but Deceptos trying to find the space, finding a good job, tarping his way through and making sure that he owns all of the builds on this level as we close in on top 15. Bad Sniper missing out on a key placement point, and Deceptos looking to try and find a pick on this Crash Pad player, doing a good job to deny the rotation, finds a tag, but not able to necessarily convert it. So many shots but no elimination coming through, and he has to find that. That's such a key pickup. Inside the top 15 we go. Can he chase down this player? And he finally gets it. That snipe going down, but Hen is still up, picking up Orion as we get into our top 10.
Deceptos is going to have to make a play as it's going up a little bit of an incline. You see it. Old builds are there as well. Hen is going to fall. Slick going to fall in tandem. Top 10 placement points being missed out by both of them. That's a huge boost as well. Deceptos able to hold on to the player on the other side. Shots are coming through. He's getting the tags, and he does. Frenzy Fishy is going to go down. Deceptos needs to get out of zone, though. He is sitting and ticking. He doesn't have any floppers. He's looking to get in, and he does, but a shot comes through. Floki going to be the one to take him down, and now 2 eliminations here for Floki. The player right on top of him. He's got to be careful. Shots go through. Back into zone goes Floki. Ticking down very, very low. Now inside the zone. He's good to go.
Complete control over this lobby. You can see Tayson as well in the middle. Scramguard and Snazy are going to round out your top 4. Who will finish it off? Will Anas continue the run of the caddy corner loot, proving it out, or can somebody from the low ground shut him down as Tayson picks up Scramguard? So each elimination, each placement here, an additional point as Tayson ends Snazy right there. But the Shockwave Launcher comes out right away and knocks him over to the zone. And Anas does get tagged, but he's able to pop the flop in the zone and then gets the follow-up tag with 6 HP to spare. Become Legends Anas from the high ground. 4 eliminations in the Victory Royale, taking game number 2.
The flop was what he needed to pop, and he did do just that. The Victory Royale going to be nice. I think may be able to move into first place after that game just on the number of points and the eliminations, but we're definitely going to need the analysts to break that one down, so we're going to send it right over to them here in a moment.
Thank you guys so much. Great cast here in game number 2 of Europe. Anas finding the Victory Royale there. Mad props to him. Now, here's the thing, though. Tayson, another big name we're used to seeing. We keep talking about the quality of players. This is someone who is coming in strong. Ends that game in 5 eliminations. Had he picked up that VR, that 4-point swing would have actually moved him higher up the leaderboard, and we'll see that as we take a look at the standings and look at who is currently holding down that number 1 spot.
Usually who ends up winning the game is always at first. That is the same story here right now. BL and Nas all the way 28 points. But what happened that game was a bunch of eliminations from top players, changing the standings from 2nd all the way to 10th.
And there's BL Hen in 2nd there. Somebody definitely to keep an eye on because he placed 4th in the first game. Not necessarily the biggest boost in points this game. Other names too, Deceptos, who's the king of placing 5th place. The French legend who came out there in the Invitational starting to rise up. But then Tayson, Zeke, you mentioned him. Getting that 2nd place will boost him way up. And he could have done more. Reason still stays around the 9th place mark, but still improved at least in this game.
Noah showed that he was more powerful.
And it's all because Benji scares Noah into going somewhere else, but into somebody who might end up struggling because of it. Benji, though, saw a sign of weakness, and because of that, he will pounce, try to grab more space. Kiriachi looking in the background. Looking in the background, and Benji knows, and he will hunt. This is one of the best players at fighting in the early and mid game, and Benji is not scared whatsoever.
Got power vacuum basically here over at Slurpy Swamp, and Benji gets in the box with style, breaks through, hits a big shot, and shows his power afterwards as well.
And is that show of power, is that show of confidence something that we're used to seeing out of Benji? I say yes, but it might be overconfidence as he pushes a fight against one of the best players in the world. Now we're switching over to Flois, and for him, it's a shift.
Yeah, for him, he was holding power in game number 1, continues to, dropping down Froggy, who was in second place on the leaderboards at the time, but holding power sometimes comes with a cost. He loses it over to Advise, and we see one of our new players who are in that second place slot.
Second place for Hen after a very good game number 1, and follows it up with a pretty decent game number 2, a 10th place for him, but a couple of elims to boot. And that will put him where he needs to be if he wants to grab that crown at the end of the day, the ultimate sign of power. He falls in 11th, but that's at least solid enough.
Yeah, and this is where power starts for a lot of players in this game. It was Anas who ends up winning, who had Caddy Corner and the Mythic Loot as well. The Shockwave Launcher, Kit's Charge Shotgun too, and he just made power become his tool in this endgame. He became legend incarnate, literally just personifying the organization he's on and using this entire endgame as a playground, bouncing people up, shooting them down afterwards. Look at that two-piece right there. Anas looks so dynamic, and yes, we saw Flois with the hunting rifle. We saw him with the charge shotgun last time, but for me,
Of the Platform Unification Directive.